See, when something comes to the forefront that doesn't match our nature, it doesn't feel good. That's why it doesn't feel good, because it doesn't match our nature. And so actually it's a direct communication from the source level. It's our inner GPS in the present moment. Like, because we compare everything to our nature as we focus on it. And anything and everything we compare to our nature. And if it's not in alignment, we get an instant communication about that with how we feel.
Welcome to Souls on Tap. I'm your host, Julianne Thon. If you joined us for his first appearance, you'll remember the extraordinary near-death experience my guest shared, one that stayed with many of us long after the episode had ended. Today, he returns not to revisit that crossing, but to explore what came after. Since his near-death experience, my guest has stepped fully into his work as an intuitive energy healing practitioner, spiritual counselor, coach, and instructor. His teachings help others navigate their own healing and awakening. In each session, he weaves intuitive insight, energy work, and spiritual guidance to support deep healing, clarity, and forward movement on the soul's path. I'd like to welcome back to the show, John Kelley. Hey, John.
Hi, everyone.
It's
Oh
good.
my,
It's good, but I just have to ask you before I ask the first question, what's your weather like today in South Dakota?
I haven't been outside, but it's cold.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could look real quick.
No, that's
Okay.
fine. I just am laughing because Colorado is amazing. We were freezing a couple of days ago, and today I stepped outside and it's 58 degrees out.
Oh, really?
Sun is just as warm. It's
Now
just
you got
melting
me
everything.
curious
Yeah, that's
uh, about the weather. 41 out there. Oh my God, it's summer.
see what I mean? Like, do you guys do what Colorado does? I mean, do you
Yeah, it
sometimes
was
have,
-8 just
yeah,
2 nights ago.
yeah.
And I went out there anyway just to feel it.
Well, I know you guys are in the same time zone, so I wonder in terms of meridians. And I mean, I know you're obviously north of us, but anyway, it is what it
Yeah,
is. And I like you're probably thankful that you live in South Dakota. I am very thankful I live in Colorado.
yeah. I used to live on the coast, West Coast in Washington State. Uh,
Yeah, I
I
lived
came
it.
here because of 2020. I have to have trees though, so I can't venture anywhere from except for the Black Hills.
Yeah, I would think that would have hurt a little to have left Washington. I lived there for a year and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. And they were having a drought that year, so it didn't rain as it wasn't as cloudy and dreary as a lot of people complain about. So I thought Washington was a wonderful place to be.
Oh yeah.
So, okay. Well, getting started. I'm curious, as far as after you had your near death experience all those years ago, I know that several years went by as you attempted to make sense of what had happened. Can you tell us what and when was the first shift you noticed in your intuitive or healing abilities?
Well, it was 14 months later I found this training institute, the Washington Psychic Institute, and um, it took three courses, 3 8-week courses to get to the healing classes. And we had to first learn how to do it with ourselves and run our own energy and basically maintain our own operating system, internal operating system. And then you're able to start discovering how to work with other people. But first, you have to dial in your own. system and start working on your own stuff.
Mhm. Well, we most of us that are light workers and healers, we understand that the healing
Yeah,
starts here, and then we are free to heal others. But yeah, we have a little work to do.
there's a lot of things I've discovered since then. I mean, I've been practicing personal practice, training, and discovering stuff every time I work with somebody, even an animal. I discover new things. My ex-partner, Holly, who we're still really good friends, every time we get together and do healing work, I don't know what it is about her nature, but a brand new technical understanding happens, like surfaces from the deeper intelligence that we all possess within us. And so
For you, or for her, or both of you.
for me, and then I show her on the spot, and then she starts practicing it by herself. I mean, and then we'll trade back and forth because I've been training her for off and on for 3 years. And she's already a self-taught sound healer and went to school to be a emotion code person or to have that skill. And it's just the self-taught, there's some things you won't discover unless, you have a really well-rounded training. And uh, the first thing I showed her is how to separate out from other people's energy after interacting with them.
Mhm. So
And
super
we,
important, very
oh my
important.
God. Yeah, she would be out of commission for 3 or 4 days because she's so empathic. She would take it into her system, the other person's stuff, and it took her that long to process it through. And so I just showed her how to, I recognized it, and it was very delicious as a partner to blend so deeply with her, but it was also an impediment that she had to know how to deal with. And so we practiced with each other. And uh, every time we came together and left, even after phone calls, long, deep phone calls, like yeah, because we lived in different places, and uh, we would still separate each other's energy out,
Wow.
like, and um, what we discovered right away is that there's different levels of our connection, and on this level, we have boundaries with our energy, and our system is designed for our own frequency as a living being, as a eternal living being, like the true nature of our being. And that that when someone else's energy comes inside of your energy space, there's they have their own perceptions and ways they understand reality that they themselves police within their own self, and their natural system polices it and deflects any of the infinite living data that's available that doesn't match and confirm what we hold as true for ourselves. So when someone else's energy, like mom and dad, when they program us, look both ways before you cross the street, little guy. Like
Right.
that was still in my head running when I started my psychic training, and I would hear my mom's voice. And you see, when someone else's energy, they're a living volitional being. They are alive and policing their boundaries, pretty much. Like
Are you
that's right
saying
for
we are
me.
you saying we all do that?
Yeah. And so the rite of passage in the Native American traditions, or worldwide Aboriginal traditions before they got inundated with civilization,
Right.
um, uh, the rite of passage was when you become the being you are, and you go through all the ideas that people programmed into you, and you decide, and you just discover which ones match your being and which ones don't. And then you move off everyone else's energy, and you keep the living information in your own energy, like with your own frequency. So you can just completely undo it and just hold the knowledge that you gained from it
Hmm.
without the other people's energy on it. Because when their energy is inside, when someone, we're all dealing with this, when someone's in there, and it's like some of the ideas you're getting aren't your own. And you might feel weird, like on an energy healer level, facilitator level, um, there's a conflict in your system because there's different volitional energies inside of your energy space that are policing their beliefs and perceptions. And so we want to undo those programs from ourselves and just clear all that out and just own our design, own it, own it, like reclaim it really and own it, and then um, clear it out, like taking a shower every day in some way. Like you could do breath work or work out even, but it's a lot, it depends on who you are and where you're at and the way you want to live.
Right. For example, I have a tendency, if something doesn't go right between me and another individual, I carry that with me for a while. I try to figure out what my responsibility was, which I think that we have to decide for ourselves. Is that what we want to do? And that works for me to decide what responsibility did I have in this situation. But then you should sort of accept that, and then it's time to stop. I have a tendency to keep it going and imagining what they must have felt like, and did I hurt them, and how are they feeling now, and that's where you need to
That's the
stop.
mother in you.
Yeah, and it's how, well, it's a lot of things in
I
me,
know, I know.
but I'm working on it, right? Here I am at this age, right? And I'm still working on it.
Well, I have something to say about that.
Please.
Oh, I like your cup. Mine is, where is it? B. This is what happens when we turn off the story spinner.
All right.
We're just in our being state because we're not spinning. We're disconnected. We turned our mind off. It's the first thing I show everyone in training, which I offer on my website for only 4 and 6 week trainings and healing sessions and deep dive talks because uh, well, we're all already intelligent. We're already have a huge body of life experience. Uh, and well, you already are the power, the energy, the being you are. We're made of infinite creative power, the same energy that everything's made of. And the nature of nature, I like to say sometimes, is our nature.
So wait a minute. Are we talking about B, or are we talking about my issues with taking on other people's energies?
Well, I was just mentioning the cup real quick. There it is.
Oh, okay.
I had to manifest it in reality.
I
Here,
want to make sure I'm following you, because what you
oh,
have
I didn't finish.
what what you have to say is pretty important,
Wait,
John, and I want to make sure that I'm following you correctly.
so which side now? Because I was about to come back to you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, okay, so we're like made of life. We are life, and this design right here is a living multidimensional interface with this world, this dimension, in this universe, in this dimension. And it isn't our being, though. Our being is more than this. And so our being's nature has fundamental functions, but they're conscious. On this level, we don't have to be conscious of it, but because the deeper level runs all that and orchestrates it. And also is guides our evolution on this level, on a true level evolution, not physical evolution, and internal as the being. And uh, so we have the nature of this operating system. It's designed specifically to work. It's very vast, by the way. We all own, this is the only thing we really own on Earth is our own operating system, our body, right? Everything else, whatever,
Well, own as in we're 100% responsible for.
Yeah, we're the author of it.
Right.
From the deeper level, of course,
Yeah.
because we can't analytically really understand hardly anything about multidimensional functionality in the present moment, like holding that vast network together and in full operation and keeping it in symbiotic union with everything else and in balance is beyond our capacity on this level. It can, I mean, we'd spend 5 hours just reaching up to scratch our head, firing off all the nerves and tuning into every single process necessary. And, we just don't, this design is made so that, and our nature and that union is made so we don't have to pay attention. All we have to do is ground it in through repetition. And then it just locks in, and that's what's happening in your life, like beliefs, ideas, driving, like everything is it's made so we don't have to pay attention to that stuff so that we can live our life and explore and experience things without having to think about that. That's a good, I get the word from that level of myself. Grace is the word that just surfaced in my mind. And and so uh and then there's people like me who will relentlessly pound the pavement until I discover what the real truth is. Like, what am I after that near death experience? And I experience myself as the being not remembering John or the earth, or where is it? There it is. Um, uh, it was like I never had not been that being. I didn't have a frame of reference about this world or this personality that was developed while I was here. And so when I came back and it rebooted into my head, uh, or the program's rebooted on an energy level, all the compilation, um, I had a big conflict going on because now that was louder. The other experience was still pretty loud because I was still processing it.
The
But
near death
now,
experience, you mean?
yeah, all everything I experienced, and and then now I'm John again.
So
And
how long did it take you before you became John again?
uh, well, when I came back, and remember they were slapping me in the face saying, "What's your name?" And when I focused, this huge piece of energy appeared about that big and clicked into my hemisphere here,
Right. I
and I had
remember
all
that.
the information. And then they knew I wasn't back all the way and were smacking me around, smelling salt. And then they're saying, "Where are you?" Trying to get me to focus and come back all the way.
Sure.
And when I focused to answer, I summoned the other one. See, when we focus, it's a natural process. This is what I wanted to mention about what you're experiencing. Before we get too far, is when we focus, we receive more information about it. All the memories and life experience pop up to the forefront. Everything related, all your hormones and adrenal glands, your sweat glands, everything simultaneously shifts into that position. And we don't do that on purpose. The deeper level does it because that's the function of this, the design and function of this system and of the interface between this level and the source level which is the eternal being we are and actually our true nature. And so so with when you're all worried about and what you were talking about, when you're concerned and you process and wondering how they felt and discovering your level of responsibility in the situation, well, the fact is to start with, when you're just being yourself, you're not responsible for what rises up within another person. That isn't your work. Just like they're not responsible for what rises up in you. And there's a purpose and a reason for that. It's because there's an internal natural process where in the part of us that guides and orchestrates our evolution on this level is, out of all the things we've collected and all the out of alignment habits of thought and beliefs that are out of alignment with the actual truth of the structure of life, the nature of life itself, the like what it does is it brings to the forefront the one that is the perfect one to get. See, when something comes to the forefront that doesn't match our nature, it doesn't feel good. That's why it doesn't feel good, because it doesn't match our nature. And so actually it's a direct communication from the source level. It's our inner GPS in the present moment. Like, because we compare everything to our nature as we focus on it. And anything and everything we compare to our nature. And if it's not in alignment, we get an instant communication about that with how we feel. So the inner the mechanism is the deeper love. We're supposed to be aware and being in communication with the levels of our own being. This is the way the design naturally works, like how it was created to function, is we're supposed to be awake and aware of what we are and how this works so we could do it on purpose. I mean, well, I'm saying that that phrase wouldn't even fit if we already were conscious. So we can do it on purpose, because then we would be doing it on purpose. And and so we're not taught any of that stuff. I don't think hardly anyone on earth is. Like, if their family is locked in, they're already indoctrinated in a part of objective separate reality, and have definitely, unless they're an exception to the rule, forgotten their true nature. And on top of that, built their entire personality structure without ever referencing the truth of their own nature, the nature of nature itself, which are the laws of the universe, that some people call it that, but it's actually just the nature of life, how it functions. And so you could call it a law if you're a human who's bound by laws. Well, if you think you are, you're bound by them, because we're made of creator energy, or creative, basically infinite creative energy. That's our nature. And so what we hold as true, we, in a sense, bind ourselves to it.
So can we back up just a minute
Uh-huh.
because of what you said about family, for example, because I know there's going to be some viewers that are going to be confused about this. So I haven't talked to you about necessarily about soul contracts and the philosophy, spiritual philosophy that
Well, those are real.
has to do with. Okay, so you think they're real? Okay, that's good, because then I can continue with what I'm going to ask.
Uh-huh.
So if we have a soul contract to come with the families
Mhm.
that we come in with,
Right.
we would have to put it in our contract that, okay, we're all going to play these parts and we're all going to help each other learn and help each other evolve, but we have to do so in such a way that does not allow us to change our true nature. You would have to say that, right? In the
Oh, you mean
contract,
in order to,
in order to born that out in this incarnation. Do you see what I'm saying?
are you talking about the exceptions to the rule?
Well, I don't.
Because we don't. I have to say, we don't, on this analytical level we've come to know ourselves at, through, we don't write that contract on this level. And it's
No,
not a
right,
contract like we know it to be. It's an agreement.
right.
And it's beings from a pure positive level, like vast beings participating together as a group in a specific dimensional experience, and in this case, as a mammalian expression.
But you referred to the indoctrination that
Well, the
we
indoctrination is
go
just,
through, right?
yeah, well, it's known when we come here that we will forget our nature and become something we've never been before.
Okay, so we have to forget our true nature in order to learn what we've come here
Well,
to to do.
we don't have to, but that is what's going on here.
Okay. I thank
And
you for explaining that.
yeah, it's just what's going on. It's a chosen reality to participate in. And there's multiple levels of reasons, not just one or two. And I mean, there's personal evolution, there's the evolution of the special being or consciousness, and then there's the evolution of the earth. Then there's the evolution of, heck, the Earth's part of the planetary system. That's part of the galaxy. That's part of the galactic cluster. That's part of who knows what else, and the universe. And there's evolutionary levels on all, and they all impact the rest. And so in this case, we kind of born into a war zone in a way where it's almost like the experiment's over or coming to a close, as what my inner voice just said, um, is like we're like, in we're like the white blood cells that have come to light up this dark zone. And all we have to do, though, I mean, we don't have to do anything because we have free will at every moment, every choice. We could say, no, I'm out of this, or I'm just gonna just not,
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm gonna observe.
Yeah, I'm just gonna live and ignore everything that's
Right,
going on
right.
here so I
Yeah,
can have a happy life.
right.
And or
It's tempting.
yeah, yeah. So all we have, the only that general job is to feel good, to to meet your nature in your experience, or just to be happy, because that everything shines out from us. That's how you can tell how someone feels, like 100 feet away, walking away from you. You can feel how they feel because they're emanating from them anger, happiness, depression, whatever. You can feel it. Especially have if depending on how much you've been through yourself, you can recognize it
Right.
because you felt that way or
Hmm.
do,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
Like
That
in some
that's
cases.
me.
Yeah. And so the I get the word resonance. That's why when, I know what the deeper level is talking about. The well, like frequency aligns with its own self. And so if you're emanating that, you will see that around you. You'll pull it from the data and not notice the other happy, or the happy person will irritate the heck out of you because you're not happy or whatever.
Well,
You
how
may
do you
notice them.
so how do we pull it? How do we pull?
Well, we don't pull it. It's more of a resonant frequency alignment that's taken care of by the deeper level of our being.
So how
That
do we
lines up
align ourselves then? How do we
yeah,
align ourselves to accept that then?
what?
So whatever's going on out there, I'm assuming what you said is that we raise our energy or our vibration, which creates a particular frequency,
Uh,
which then pulls from whatever we want to pull from,
well,
whatever's going on in the exterior.
it lines up with its own level. And so now you see that car you bought everywhere. You see, it's like, when
Okay,
before you never even noticed it.
that's a good analogy. Okay, yeah,
And
right.
it's a natural process. And it process is in the present moment. Like, not this long drawn out from the past through the present into the future thing. It's like now. Everything is now. And with our creative capacity, we've designed all kinds of interesting, sort of interesting, but limiting things like linear time
Hmm.
instead of understanding the true cycles of nature, the nature we're made of. That includes our own self, not just the larger nature around us, the seemingly larger nature, what we're a component of or a part of. And there's a symbiotic union. If you didn't notice, the whole universe would be have crashed into itself by now if there wasn't an underlying principle holding it in the present moment in perfect symbiotic union. Everything is already perfect and growing and expanding. The only thing humans can do out of having forgotten their nature, they're in see, your nature is the nature of nature. So if you know your nature, then you live in alignment automatically with nature through the inner guidance from your deeper level, because you won't poison everything. You won't poison your own priceless multi-dimensional interface. Oh my God, you know, you won't, I mean, that's like throwing gas on a Ferrari and throwing a match on it, like, or sticking diesel in the gas tank, the unleaded gas tank, it's going to mess everything up. Or taking it for a ride through a mud puddle or a creek or a river. Like, it's just not made for that.
Right.
And it can do it, but what happens will be the result of it. And this is
Yeah.
what humans have done.
Have you ever felt an unexplainable fear? A deep connection to a place you've never been? Or patterns in your life you just can't seem to break? These aren't random thoughts. These are to look deeper, to heal, to remember. At JT Introspective Hypnosis, I help you access the answers already within you through the power of guided polydimensional travel and the place your soul takes you in order to heal. Because the truth is, you're not lost. You're just waiting to be found. Learn more and book your session at www.julianathon.com.
See, human beings are different than being human, because we're the being human. And if we forgot that we are a being and we think, ow, I hurt myself, ow, myself, my body, my earth suit, if we've mistaken the computer as our own self, then, well, you know, I don't know, we could take it from there in our own minds, our own imagination.
So to
Like,
simplify, that is going back to what a lot of us have heard said, that is that we are spirits having a human experience, not the other way around.
it's so interesting the way that we've been taught language, because as you said that, you made the fact that you're an energy being or spirit secondary objectively by stating it out loud. We are spirits, and that puts it outside of us. You see, it's a trip the way that it's like every time we have this deep experience, let's say there was no substances involved, like mushrooms or anything, and we have this massive, like, whoa, realization and like a full body thing going on. And okay, and it's going to go through this process. And there's all this new information. It's going to integrate into all the energy center, the living information vortexes. There's an upgrade that just happened. But what we want to do is immediately tell someone. And before it assimilates and settles into our system, it integrates. We spew it outside of ourselves and make it secondary. And now it becomes a memory we refer to once in a while. And no, it doesn't finish its process. And I was the guiltiest person on earth for that one, because before I discovered everything's internal, I was always trying to help my friends or my family or share with them these massive understandings I was coming into. And as soon as that inspiration sparked, boom, I ejected it from my system in description to someone else, it now became secondary and diffused. And so I kept
Oh, so
diffusing.
but
Yeah,
what if you share this spiritual knowledge that you have created or you have within you already, and you share it with somebody whose frequency is the same and they understand it immediately? Does it continue to
that
become
happens.
separate from you, or does it just grow and
Well,
from
well, I'm
there?
sharing something that's already integrated within my system. And so I don't make it secondary. What I'm juggling with is the language. And language is one thing, and communication's a whole nother thing
Right.
because
Mhm.
before we open our mouth, everything that happened just before we make a noise is the communication.
Right.
If you have animals, you'll know that. Well, you may have noticed that. Um, because they feel your intention and motive, and they see the mental pictures that we produce as we're creating the equation, or the bundle of communication that's about to come out this way. And what we're all doing, we're actually really telepathic without realizing it, because when someone's talking, you're seeing all these pictures, and those aren't just the picture I'm putting out. In the psychic training, we would put it between us, not try to instill it in someone else's head. Like, we learned how to stay inside and centered in our own space and communicate, and we there was a space between us, and we'd put it right here instead of leaning into people. Like, what we do without knowing it is, when we look at something, we send our energy to it. And I can remember walking into the psychic, there was a lot of them back then, like 7 of them. And I went to the one in Spokane, Washington, when I was having an issue I didn't know how to deal with. And which is a whole nother story. But when I stepped through that door, there was an advanced clairvoyant student sitting all the way across the auditorium. And I looked at him and jumped into his head I didn't mean to. I just went where my attention went. My
Yeah.
energy went, where energy goes, attention flows, or the other way around. Where attention goes, energy flows. But it's not just energy, it's your actual being nature that's going there. And he went like this. He turned to start, he felt me, and he started turning, and he goes, oh, like that. Like,
Oh, wow.
and he just like
Oh,
turned his
wow.
head, like, and I was
Oh,
like, whoops, because I knew better than that, right? But I was a little out of whack, and I needed a hand from one of one of the founders was there, which was really cool. And I got to work directly with uh, some guy who'd been training for 50 years, like,
mm.
he was like almost 80. Like, and uh, so he helped me dial my system back in. And I was young then, though. I was only 24, and now I'm just about 60. And so anyway, there's natural ways our systems function. And our nature functions specifically evolutionarily, like we're growing, right? And we're like hunter gatherers on more than one level. And
Yeah. No I'm kidding. Yeah. When you put it that way, it's like, yeah.
but we're not, it's a little more than hunting and gathering,
But
but
I get what you're
it
saying.
is that also.
Right.
Okay, it depends on what you're after. Like, what is your nature calling through you for? Like, this is your nature calling for that thing you're desiring. And there's two ways that happens: in the evolutionary natural way. And then see, if you're if you're confirming the beliefs that you have, and you're not on a path of awakening to your true nature, or just expanding your conscious awareness of including the natural processes of the life you are. That's what awakening is. And enlightenment is a never-ending string of light bulbs going off, like realizations. and they'll, if we don't discover the present moment, they will end up in the past with the rest of them, and we'll remember them once in a while. The deeper level will bring it to our attention when we're talking about something, and then we'll talk about it like it's in the past, and not having, which implies not having embodied it and functioning it on purpose in the present moment. It's there's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
That when the deeper level brings forward, here's how this is something that trips probably everyone up, even advanced trained psychic people. Like, without recognizing this natural internal process, it'll throw us, we'll go off that way, the other direction, and totally rack our system and destroy it, or not destroy it, but beat the heck out of ourselves without we don't understand. And so it's almost like we're innocent, like, in a way, even if we do bad things, because, well, probably shouldn't take it that far for this
Right. Well, because
conversation.
that's a whole nother
Yeah,
conversation, right?
but if we don't know how it works, then we have to live how we know how to live.
So, so here's my question, and this
I
is
still,
good.
yeah, okay.
This is
I'm going to get to it one of these times.
no, it's all right. It's okay because
Everything's connected.
it because I sense that my viewers and listeners are going to be a little confused as to, who is a client for you. What?
Anyone? Well, why don't we talk about what did happen?
Okay, well, we could talk about that too.
Well,
So for my viewers that don't know, we were supposed to have recorded this sometime last week. And I got up and I felt fine. Everything was great. And boom, I got an ocular migraine. And I can't see when that happens. And it's hard for me to focus for long periods of time. Sometimes it even affects my speech because part of my tongue goes a little bit numb. So I had to call John and say, hey, is there any way we can reschedule? So you started asking me then, well, what's up? Do you get these very often? And so I kind of opened up and told you about them and said, they stopped for a long time. And now I've gotten 3 of them in the past week. And you said, if you would like, I'd be happy to work on that for you. And of course, when you're that miserable, you're like, oh my God, please, please, I'll do anything, please, please. And so we said goodbye and we would hook up in an hour or so.
half hour.
Was it a half hour?
It was at noon, and I was like, if I can't alleviate this from you by 12:30, but if I can, I threw out some ideas, and
So
it wasn't, yeah. I want to hear your story because I didn't really.
Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about it because,
I know.
I just wanted this doggone thing gone. And here's the thing. I have had people work on the energy to help me block those migraines from coming, deal with whatever is bringing them on, causing myself to bring them on. But I've never had anybody, I have had people work on the actual migraine, and it hasn't helped. It's helped a little, but it hasn't made it go away, and yours did. So there was this process, and so I have to share with you what I was feeling when we were not in physical contact. We weren't on the phone, we weren't looking at each other. I think you asked for a picture of me, right?
Yeah, I wanted to see your present moment condition. Like, and then I could dial into the
God,
energy of it.
I last night I looked at that picture I sent you, and it was wild. I looked awful. One eye was totally bloodshot. I just looked like I'd been through World War III. So
Yeah,
you
I was very concerned. That really helped me totally focus to help you. That's why I asked for a picture from people I'm working with, like a now picture, is because usually no one, anyway, people
so
won't get a hold of me unless they need help with something.
okay. All right.
And
So but I want to just continue to say that as you were working on me, I wanted to go about my business, but the feeling that I could feel, this is very strange and it's very difficult to put into because it's the language that screws it up, right? It's
Yeah.
limiting. The language is limiting me, but here's what I want to say. Even though in the beginning the pain wasn't going away, I was still feeling a vibration of release.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was wild about it. I could feel an adjustment was being made. I could feel an energetic cleansing was taking place. And of course, there's that crazy part of me that says, wait, am I making this up? No, just go about your business and just be thankful. Just feel gratitude for everything that's happening. And that's where I decided to focus, is
Mm-hmm.
keep doing whatever I was doing and to feel absolute gratitude for you and the work you were doing. And within a half hour, it had not completely subsided, but it was significantly better, significantly better. And then when did you texted me again and you're like, is it gone? Or we checked in and by then it was completely
You
gone.
text me and said my vision came back
That's what happened first.
first.
It
Yeah.
came, now that came back like that. That was amazing. The pain was still there, but the vision came. That
The
was
vision
just
has to do with this whole band of energy right here. It goes back pretty far. So I was clearing the whole through your whole hemisphere from here this way. And then I was like, well, I got to do both sides, even though I see it more on this side. Like I just listened to the deeper level of myself because I do have protocols from the 5 different trainings and healing systems I learned. I can drop into any protocol or a blend of them. But what I'm really doing is listening for the part of me that knows everything, that's fully conscious, super conscious. And and so I focus and open to I focus on what I'm my purpose, what I'm doing, what I'm engaging. And then I open and listen. I'm just waiting. I'm awaiting. I'm not waiting. You know, I know it's coming because it has been for years. And I got the relationship going and I mean consciously and then it surfaces what's going on, what the relationships are, and what focus for me to hold. Because when we all hold focuses, it's the internal part that moves the energy into that alignment. And that internal part is the eternal, infinite creative being we are. That's our true nature. And so these are the things this is what I've done is discovery to me is the uploads from that level of myself, giving me the realizations, the direct knowing. That's the level of ourself that gives that to us. That's the communication. We just not recognizing it, don't communicate back.
so
We're not
let's go back to healing me because
okay.
this is my question. So you started to say like what you do beginning the process, right? But were you in a sense, and I'm forgive me for trying to simplify it, but were you energetically helping my energy adjust itself?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I was also pulling off energies that weren't yours, like siphoning them off your system, like a
Yeah,
vacuum
we
cleaner.
talked a little bit about that
Yeah.
and yeah,
And there is interrelated stuff going on because your system is one whole. And it's kind of odd to just work from here to here because it's all works together. And so I found the hot spot in your solar plexus. And
right.
and then I saw what had triggered it. But then I saw, and when I say I saw, you know where that comes from. We don't, where all ideas come from when we're focusing is from that level. And it delivers what we ask for. If we're just asking for descriptions, then it'll give us that. But if we're interfacing directly, it's going to show you directly. And through all of your senses and capacities, or like. And so I saw something you were working on from a long time ago. It was I could, when I'm looking at it again in my mind, or my the inner verse, or wherever, the imaginal field, whatever you want to call that, that we do all of our work on anyway, our daydreams, translating our night dreams, even our vision is translated into the imaginal in that dimensional level. It's like we've been taught everything's physical, but anyway, so I saw it was dark. I could tell, I felt it. It was like older, but it was still present. Something you're grappling with maybe even not realizing it and realizing it sometimes. Like, and one thing brought that, ignited it to the forefront to be worked on or to be noticed. And then that's the natural processes I'm talking about, the inner being does with us, is it brings forward what a major block in our evolution, usually the most important one right now from its perspective, that we need to reconsider and decide whether we want to keep holding that living program in our system, because when we do, we're going to experience it. And if it's in the way of our expansion as a living being, then it will be brought to our attention. And then in that moment, instead of focusing on what doesn't feel good, what we focus on magnifies, it increases. It's like the light of our attention lights it up and increases it. It becomes more magnified. And because we're not aware of this process, we don't even know anything about it normally. All of a sudden, something's brought to the forefront. It can't rise up within you unless it's already there to start with, no matter who you're interacting with.
Right.
And instead of blaming someone else, this is an opportunity to, oh, I didn't know I was carrying that. And the only reason this interaction is happening is because you are carrying that, because frequency resonant alignment, and life reflects back to us what we hold within us. And so it's really all these things are what I walk people through in recognizing, because these processes are in living motion within us all the time. Do you know what chakras look like? They're conical. There's
Spin.
variations. Usually they spin both ways simultaneously downwards or back to the spinal column. And I know you probably haven't heard that. Usually it's one way, but that's
I
not
don't
a
think
balance.
I don't think I've ever heard
I
anybody say
saw
both ways.
that. I'm the one who discovered that,
Wow.
like in my system. Like, oh, they're like this multi-dimensional morphing field that goes both ways at once, right? Now remember, we're made of creative energy. Look around you. Being humans created everything around here. If that doesn't show you we are creators, nothing will. Like, all we do is take an idea and conceive it into reality and materialize it however we have been shown is the way to do that.
Where does the idea come from?
Well, the deeper level. It
It's
depends on what the ideas are. Because if you're not if you're really separated out, like you're unaware completely, and all you're doing is confirming all the beliefs you hold about your identity, who you know yourself to be, so that you can try to maintain some kind of semblance of balance and not collapse or fall apart. That's emotional, psychological, and physical. And like we're always rebalancing at all moments. And so that's why people will tell you how they need you to see them so they feel comfortable. They're like, oh yeah, I'm this
which
and
is
that.
again, like you said earlier, that's not our responsibility, you know?
Well, it's true, but it's what happens when
Sure.
you you've lost track. I don't know if we ever actually knew on this level. Like we could say, oh, I'm remembering. I don't think so, because this is a new life. And we were trained right at the beginning to not reference our nature before we stabilized into this structure, before it was stabilized into a functional living structure. I mean, we're still hitting ourselves in the face and crying and got scratches on our cheeks from our own fingernails that mom forgot to clip or they grew too fast, like why are you it's like, and then you realize you have a hand and you're like, oh, that was me doing that, like, and it's kind of like the process of waking up, like to your nature. It's like realizing the more that I call it, the more that is, the more that we are, and the more that is that we're an inseparable part of, because there's no end to that discovery. That's why in the Christian Bible, Jesus says you have to have the basically the nature of a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. That's beginner's mind. Like that's where all things are possible. You're not a narrowed professional where only this lingo fits in amongst your peers, and only now everything's narrowed down to, well, these things are this is the only way it works according to this um, group agreements of knowledge. And like in science or whatever, anything really, even family units are that way. Like,
Yeah, I could speak from experience that that
yeah.
is absolutely the
Uh,
case.
this brings me back to when I was showing Holly how to separate out from my energy. I knew things were going to be different as soon as I showed her
Oh,
because we were blending so well, but it's only because she didn't know. Well, it still can be, even when we hug now, like last night, when we hugged, that deep connection or that deep blending, really good feeling, spiritual, true, like love and all this stuff just just happened. But when we parted way, while we're hugging, I was kind of keeping a check on it on my side because because we're not together
you're
anymore,
right, right,
like,
right.
but I mean,
You're like, how far
uh
do I want this to go?
but then when we separate out, see, if we separated ways without centralizing our own awareness and energy into our what I call the home station, which is here now, you in your operating system, uh, centering in your system. If we didn't bring it back, then we would have taken each other's energies with us, kind of
Yeah,
like,
just like
what
what
do
you
they
said.
call that? Quantum entanglement almost. And our energies would have been, these are two separate operating systems in a completely different place in evolution and growth and gender, like, so, and also, yeah. And
Does
so,
this have anything to do with being a twin flame?
well, there's a lot of things. What came to us about that twin? I don't know. But yeah, well, you could be a twin flame to anyone if both people are, well, that's not true. Yeah,
Supposedly,
you're
it's
right. There are soul grouper agreements from the inner level that, or just that we work together through who knows how many lifetimes or different
that's
dimensional
that's a thing.
internal
Yeah,
world experience. We're always on missions and we're growing ourselves and on a deeper level.
but
Like,
the quantum entanglement that you almost or began to
oh,
experience.
that's what you meant by twin flame. Twin
Yeah,
flame means the same being, but two different embodiments in the same life.
right. But
Okay.
yeah, but what I was going to say about that is that, it's funny because we're not separate from one another anyway. We're all connected. And so when you felt that, would you think it was because of the energy that you have accrued throughout the lifetimes together?
Yeah, we do have it. I haven't felt that with anyone else really like that. So it's a dynamic that exists between us as as true beings, like deeper beings. We're both on that path, and uh, I was part of her getting her up to level, like to more coherent with the overall well-rounded picture. And I'm still discovering it's being discovered through my living experience, or however you say that, I'm still in the process of discovery, because there's always more to the story. There's always more to what we are,
Well,
what
I
is
hear you.
everything.
Every day I wake up and my perspective or my understanding of something has changed
Yeah.
every day. That's pretty amazing.
So Holly and I discovered something we named the unity field. Uh, Usually what we're doing is noticing what is already there, and what, because, well, that's the way it works. We're when you're when you're becoming more conscious of the previous stuff you were not conscious of, well, it was there anyway. It's just you weren't aware of it. And so what's going on, everything we're really looking for when we're becoming more informed about the inner verse and the outer physical 3D verse, uh, is becoming aware of what is already in full function within us and all around us. We just haven't paid attention because we're paying attention to that other stuff. And it never was a point of reference because it
Right.
wasn't included in our life from the beginning. Like we weren't aware of it, so we couldn't reference it. And we were only aware of how to become a human in the way that fit our family programming and the current collective agreements on a large mass level for the whole species, starting with the national, and then
But
there's
don't
so many variations, I mean, different levels.
have you found that there are those individuals that all in this particular incarnation, for example, they come into this world and they are already massively evolved compared to other individuals. And
There are some,
they
yeah,
have the ability to recognize their true nature very early on
yeah,
and then keep it,
yeah.
stay true to it. Have you met somebody like that?
Uh, yeah, numerous people. I didn't delve into the specifics of what that entailed with each of those, but yes, I have. And I've met children that were like 7 years old or whatever, somewhere around there, that still were awake. Not even talking. They were like telepathically communicating, and like this one kid, I was looking at him and I could sense it. And he was like, it was a friend of mine that died. It was his partner's or his wife's son. And he just kept looking at me. Then he'd look again. And then he goes, and he grabbed the back of my head. I was sitting on the floor, and he put his forehead against my forehead,
Wow.
and he transmitted this energy into my sixth chakra, literally a piece of living information. And then he let go. He held it there for a while, and everyone in the whole room stopped and were like, and then they didn't know what was going on. And then he let go and just walked back to his mom, and he just looked over his shoulder one time at me, like, yeah. And then I let it sit there for a while, but then I moved it out because it wasn't my personal energy, or wasn't a natural part of my operating system.
Right.
So I didn't
Yeah.
want to leave it in there. But I let it sit for a while to make sure I just wanted to understand what it was he did and what that was, and then be done with it. It's kind of like throwing out the banana peel after eating the banana,
Mhm.
like.
So, it always surprised me. My son, Evan, who left this earth back in 2005, uh, he did not verbalize. And I had some people come into my life like that. I don't even know how well. I know now that Evan put them there. It was all planned, but there were people that could communicate telepathically. And
Mhm.
they came in, and when I saw the look on Evan's face, it was as if his entire body just went, oh, thank God. And he went over to the one guy in particular who was working with him, and it was the first day they had met, and he took him by the hand, which was really interesting because Evan was still working a lot on his fine and gross motor skills. Took him by the hand, took him over to a modern contemporary painting that he loved, that Evan loved, and began to tell him, because he was pointing, which I had not seen Evan do, because he hadn't gotten that pointing fine motor thing down yet, and he's pointing to these geometric things on the figures that were on this painting. And he was explaining to this individual, this is where I came from, this is what the buildings look like, and it's all green glass, and blah, 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 blah. And this went on for like 20 minutes. I was just, and then of course, Evan didn't want to leave his side after that. He's like,
Right.
can you come live with us? And can we go to school together? But and then I was able to, I just looked at him and I thought, I am so jealous that Evan can do this, but that's what he had the ability to do, because he didn't come here to be able to have those verbal skills. That wasn't what he was supposed to be doing here. So that said, John, we've been at this for an hour now.
Right.
I know you have somewhere you have to go, and I told you I'm having a problem, some potty training problems, and I can hear my little one barking.
Uh-oh.
barking. I think she's trying to let me know that we have some issues. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to thank you again for coming here to talk about this. That I just don't ever want it to end. You and I, our conversations, they just,
I know.
and I always walk away wanting more. That's really a good feeling, because that doesn't always happen with me. I just want to tell my listeners, look up John. I'm going to put your contact information, but look up John's website so that you guys can see what it is exactly that he does, because he does a lot of stuff. And I would go to him if he does do virtual energy work as well. I just think that if you need a tune-up, or there are specific things you're dealing with physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever it is, go to his website, because there's a reason John's here. So I just want to formally thank you, John, so much for joining us again and sharing your wisdom, because your healing work and the path that continues to unfold since your near-death experiences, it's amazing to hear you put those together.
Been a lot of work.
Well, and it ain't over, right?
I know.
So your presence and your insight and your dedication to helping others is truly felt. I want you to know that, and I thank you deeply. So
there's one thing I wanted to mention, that remote energy work is attuning to your system. Like on the inner level, there's no time and space. And we actually do this. All of us use these abilities without realizing it in some way or another, which could be a whole nother.
Yeah, which we have to go now, but absolutely, we could have a whole nother conversation about that.
We're like 5 or 6 hours apart or something physically. But when I was working with your system, I put you in front of me I tuned into you as if you were in front of me, like 4 feet away.
Well, there's no doubt that I split off. There's no doubt. Nobody could convince me otherwise, that I split off and part of me went to where I needed to go to have.
Well, it's kind of like almost, and also like, it's like dialing in a radio station. Like you just tune in, and I've done this for so long, and I keep discovering more about it, like from the deeper level, or get it more refinements, but how to work with anyone's energy anywhere on Earth. And if I knew people on other planets, I have no doubt that we could work do healing work back and forth
Oh,
from other
yeah.
planets, and there's no time and space on the inner level. So
Right.
anywhere, everything's in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and what we're talking about is clearing out the life, clearing all the channels and centers. We're processing on multiple levels all the time. And we also are carrying unprocessed stuff. And it's that stuff that doesn't even apply anymore. If we're just dragging it around like a wedding car with cans dragging behind it.
Right.
Like, and so the thing that I'm helping is clearing off any incoming energies and uh, taking out whatever my inner being shows me, but doing full system like flushes, like waves and waves and waves of universal healing energy over and over and over until your system like unifies,
Mm-hmm.
till because it'll hit blocks like a boulder in a river. Go around, and while I'm doing these waves, I can see all these things where the blockages are or where the buildup is, and I'll just use earth energy and healing, golden healing, universal energy, which is like a into being level energy and an earth body level energy, both healing, neutral healing energies, somewhat neutral. They're for healing, to cleanse your system and get the rivers flowing in your body, the meridians. And in that way, your processes that you do have going on, the ones that are in the forefront, now you can, there's not all this competition for like, for the, do you get what I mean by that?
I do. And let me know when that happens. And on that note, we're going to have to go. I'm
I
so
know.
sorry. We have to go because this would be a great story. But so you'll have to come back to explain that. So I just want to, again, to everyone that's tuning in, I invite you to join the conversation by please leaving a comment below and sharing what resonated with you. And be sure and let us know what questions or insights that you may have. And if you haven't
For sure.
already, please like, subscribe, and share Souls on Tap with someone who's ready for deeper conversations, like today, for example. Your support helps these stories reach the people who are meant to hear them. So until next time, trust the remembering, follow the call, and keep your soul curious. This is Julianne Thon, and we'll see you next time on Souls on Tap.